Hi everyone and welcome. I'm very excited today because we are going to talk about a very special topic: how to deal with a web designer. Imagine you're a customer, or you're a client, or you're a project manager, or even a secretary in a company, and your boss asked you to create a website. Obviously, you don't know the technical part of it, so you would have to be in touch with a web designer or web developer who's going to do the job for you. And that's the beginning of the challenge. I'll walk you through 10 points to help you save the day and make sure that you overcome all these problems with dealing with a web designer. First of all, and that's number one, you have to choose your web designer or web developer wisely. Why is that? Well, first of all, you have to understand that in the web design spectrum of experiences, there's a wide range of people who have entered this profession as a hobby, and unfortunately they don't understand all the technical parts of it or the creative elements entangled with web design. And also, you have on the other side of the spectrum people and companies who deal with web design in a very professional way, to the extent of complexity. So here's the thing: you have to make sure to choose somebody who can help you and be in the middle of this wide spectrum. And finally, you have to make sure that when you set your budget for that web design, have realistic expectations. Don't go for a web designer who's going to charge you $150, because if you do, most likely the end job would be terrible. So be realistic in how much you're going to pay for the web design. And I think anything, I'm not going to give figures obviously, but anything around $1,000 would be for a medium-sized website of, I would say, 6 to 8 subpages is a reasonable amount, especially if you want to create that perfect website that will look very professional and compete with other people's. Great. Let's move to point number 2. Be educated about the web. First of all, you have to understand that there are so many keywords and terminology, and you better understand most of it. At least when you meet the designer, you need to know the jargon that need to go on in your conversation. So educate yourself about that. And something else you could actually do is go onto your competitors' websites and see what type of website they have, what elements on their websites you like. But stay away from copying the exact web page. I've seen people go to web designers and ask them for the exact copy of their competitor, or if not their competitor, some great website that exists out there, and that is totally wrong. You could be liable for infringement and copyright issues, and you better stay away from such things. I wouldn't say don't go on their competitor. Actually, go and be inspired. That's the point I want to make. Make sure you see what works for you and try to adapt it into your business. That is a good call. And finally, you could browse for the latest trends. Go online, see what's out there, what's good in other people's websites, not just your competitors, but anything out there that is recent and new, because that's going to add flavor and add a lot of spices to your homepage and make it look trendy and great. Moving on to point number 3, in my opinion, this is one of the most important points, and that is have your designs approved. A lot of people, when they approach the web designer, they have no idea where to start, and that is completely bullshit. Yes, you need to make sure that you have something ready to show your designer. And for that, I experience other people doing it professionally by drawing sketches. You could do that on a piece of paper, or you could even use some tools. There's a bunch of tools out there that can help you have some wireframing and put some of your ideas into digital format so that you can share it later with your web designer. And After doing that, you can start talking about the structure of your homepage and some of the navigation that goes around the website. If you're wondering how you're going to do this, there's a special video that I have placed online. It's called Website Structure and Navigation. Make sure you visit that. It's around 10 minutes. It'll give you an indication of what you need to do, and it'll help you greatly. So make sure you understand what a website structure is and talk to your people. Talk to your marketing group or whoever needs to be part of the design process and get their feedback on the layout and the structure of your homepage. And finally, and this in my opinion is really important, is get early approval on the designs and the ideas that you've just put out on the table, because you need to have them ready by the time you speak to a designer. Point number 4, be ready with content. A lot of companies miss that point as well, and I can't stress enough. You need to have content-ready material for your web designer to start your work. You can do that towards the middle of the project or towards the end. So for that, what I advise you is start building your content and get approval on it as soon as possible. You might want to also get your content in digital format, meaning get it typed, get it into a Word document, or even a text file would do good in Notepad, but have it ready and typed. Don't expect your web designer to actually go and type it for you. Don't expect that you're just gonna hand him a piece of paper with like very old style 70. No, you need to do your work, you need to type it in. Otherwise, the web designer would gladly type it and charge you extra. And if you don't want that, then make sure you get it ready. And then an important point as well when it comes to content is get your images or whatever graphics you think you might need on your homepage ready. Talk to your graphic designer, talk to your creative group, talk to a photographer, or talk to anybody who has a camera and get those photos created, taken, because you're going to need it. And if you want to rely on your web designer to use photos, stock photography, or royalty-free photos from the internet, he can definitely find that for you. But it would probably be pictures that have been used over and over again, and you want uniqueness. If you want uniqueness, then make sure you get your photos done locally, in-house, or hire a photographer to do it for you. Point number 5, you have to understand that designing for the web is quite different than designing for print media. A lot of people get it, but there are, I would say 50% of people still don't get it because they are still in the mindset of designing for print, designing for a brochure, and that is completely wrong. You need to understand that if you have a design which is tailored for a brochure and you need to convert it into a page, most likely you won't be able to tap into the technology of the web. You would lose a lot of the elements that work very well on a homepage that is made to be a website and not a brochure. For example, the responsiveness, meaning how would your layout respond to a device that is a phone or a tablet or a desktop. So make sure you design for the web and not for a brochure kind of website. And second, you have to understand when you do that, when you do the brochure-like website, it's going to really be a slow website. And most likely, people who are visiting your homepage would not like it and would just fade away from your homepage. All this is great. You've got your 5 points, but hang on. There are another 5 very essential points in this challenge. And if you want to know the other 5, make sure you continue watching part number 2 of dealing with a web designer.